All right. Good afternoon. Today I am debuting a new system. I have a new toy. So I am checking how is it working. I hope that anybody that speaks English comes. Today I am, all right, the voice is good, and I need to check on Facebook the last streaming. Hola Norma. So why I am doing this subject again? It's not again. And I will explain to you why I am doing this. Let me see what is. No, this is not. Okay, you're going to forgive me. I don't know where is my video. Ah, here we go. Okay. No, where? The reason I am doing this video is because here it is. I don't know if you have seen. Hola Adriana Martinez. So Nancy, hello Nancy. The reason I am revisiting the subject, and it's not revisiting, is that something disturbing, really disturbing for me, had happened in the news. I mean, I don't watch the news, and I'm going to use the pendulum today to check that. About 2 weeks ago, I put a video on human trafficking. And what does it mean, human trafficking? Lisa y llanamente. So, speaking properly, human trafficking is a way of sexual abuse. It's really sexual trafficking. What happens? Children are stolen, women are kidnapped and sold to forcibly to be slaves, sexual slaves. And the most disturbing of the news is like some celebrities are in this, what they call pedophile rings. Hola Diego, ¿cómo te va? Diego, I need to contact Mr. Sadhguru because last night I was reading The Second Coming of Christ of Paramahansa Yogananda, and he explains very clear how Jesus, that was the greatest healer on earth, was able to change, to modify the karma, healing people. So this is, I mean, it's a normal practice. This man, Sadhguru doesn't just understand how it works. So the subject today is very sad, and it's about human trafficking. Human trafficking. And everything that I remember, I was talking to a friend and I was telling her, this is about the lack of control of the sexual energy. She was telling me, no, it's the men who want to set up your food and get control of the situation, the relationship. No, this is about lack of control of the sexual energy. And she sends me a link to sign a petition to close this, I think it was a bar or I don't know what was it, that was a place that was promoting human trafficking. What does it mean? Girls were stolen, kidnapped, and sold to Europe, to Asia, to whatever, as a slave, sexual slaves. So the problem is not to close the places where there is human trafficking, where is sexual slaves. And she told me, here in Los Angeles, in the, I don't know which floor of, in downtown LA, there was a place they controlled by Russians. It was about, men went to have sex. And I read something yesterday, really, really disturbing, that in Europe, in these places, people go for 2 minutes sex. So the pool cares and says, girls from 10 to 16 years old were, I don't want even to tell the details. So how many men abuse sexually them in an hour? Tons of them. But we don't have to go to those extremes. In normal relationships, men abuse their women. There was a friend that was telling me, yes, my whatever was raping me, literally. And they were in a relationship for a long time. And when she said, I don't want you in my life anymore, the guy was appearing in the most unusual places and just abusing her again and again. And he said, no, this is going to be for the rest of their life. So there is an amount of obsession and lack of education that make this subject very, very traumatic. And to me, it's all about the lack of sexual control. And now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to give the names, but you can check it in the news. There were 3 famous people. And I'm going to ask for each one of them. And one of them is the Queen of England. No, the 3 that I'm going to check are Americans. But the Queen of England and the Prince of England, they are involved in pedophilia. What does it mean, pedophilia? They get kids, they torture them, they sexually abuse, and then they kill them. All right, there are 3 people that I want to check. I'm going to ask on each one of them. First is a woman, a very famous woman, involved in pedophilia. Unfortunately, there is a yes. Hola, Carlos, ¿cómo te va? This man is a famous actor. I'm going to stop the pendulum. Okay, so you can see it. Look, I'm going to ask for the first woman again. Is this woman involved in pedophilia? Look, and it's a big one. Big yes. Okay, I stop it. Is this man involved in pedophilia? Yes. And then another woman. Is this woman very famous, involved in pedophilia? Okay, this woman, I get, Is this man, very famous actor, involved in these satanic practices, evil practices? So, tomorrow, I'm going to put this flyer, pictures, Reiki, no, tomorrow my friend Jan Girardi from Chile, he will give we are going to have a conversation, and the title is it necessary? Let me see. 8:26 here. Hey, what is? Oh, I put the wrong one. Here. Okay. Tomorrow. And he explains in a very easy way to understand. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. he will be talking about this subject. And he explains something that we all know, somehow we all know. Hola, Clau, how are you? That, you know, we have the 7 chakras. And the upper chakras, the crown chakra, the spiritual eye, the throat chakra, and half of the heart chakra, there are other systems of chakra that there are 2 heart chakras, the upper one and the lower one. All these 4 chakras are connected to the spirit world, and the lower one with this material world. So when we put our attention in the lower chakras, we start having all these thoughts that on time, if we don't control them, become obsessions, like a sexual obsession. And I remember about 6 years ago, this woman was telling me, after I was divorced, oh, you men are always talking about sex. I said, no, look, at that time I was living with 2 friends. We don't talk about sex. I don't talk about sex because we have so many important things to talk about. So, but that was the concept that this woman had, because that was the environment that she grew up. And of course, if we are with our consciousness only in about sex, this is the desires that we are going to bring in our life. And everything starts here in the mind. Starts little by little by feeding these thoughts again and again and again. So Jam, he did a video actually that he sent it to me. He says the way that he teaches how to control the sexual energy is to put our attention in the upper chakras. Now, when you have a strong willpower, you can do that. I'm sorry, you know what happened? I changed, I have the camera here and I used to look here. So I have to look over here, which is better for me. When we have a strong willpower, yes, we can do that. But it's not easy. And again, this is the main point that I want to instill today. Do you think that in this lifetime we can solve? I want to ask you, do you think in this lifetime we are going to be 20, 30, 40 more years in this planet? We are going to see a change in this sexual obsession. We are going to see that the human trafficking with children, with adult women, young women, is going to be finished. If, let's say that the government, the police put all the efforts in in ending up all these places where they do that? I am asking you. I want you to answer in the chat. Do you think we are going to see a change in our lifetime? Hola, Carlos. Do you think, I don't know who is watching in Facebook. Looks like it's, do you think we are going to see a change in this lifetime? I want you to answer whatever comes to your mind. And I'm going to answer I'm going to wait at least for one answer. I am waiting for the one I love to find me today. No, I don't, of course, Diego. So, the responsibility that we have as human beings is start educating ourselves and our kids. This woman I was talking about, the one that sent me the link to stop this bar or stripper club, I don't know, whatever, because they were doing human trafficking. She said the average men start watching pornography at the age 9. I was shocked. I just couldn't believe it. I know my son didn't do it. My son is 19 and he has a very healthy approach to sexuality because I taught him. He's very well educated and I know he's very healthy. So we need to see the problem. Even though if we are good people, don't worry about that. Even though if we are good people, we need to see it that a part of all this problem of human trafficking, sexual abuse, we have collaborated in other life or a little bit in this life, a little bit, without feeling shame or guilt. But to have the responsibility to see how can we improve our life and how can we teach our kids. So the solution of the pedophile, of the human trafficking, of the sexual abuse is a problem of education, and it will take a long time, maybe hundreds of years. And I promise you, even though the method that we are going to discuss tomorrow in Spanish with Jan at 4 p.m., that he says we need to concentrate on the upper chakras, well, we need to have an extremely strong willpower. I will tell you my experience. As a man, I discovered sexuality because I have some friends in high school or at the end of the elementary school. I was 13 years old, that started telling me things that I wish I wouldn't known about sexuality because it was in a very gross and damaging way. In spite of that, during my teen years, I wasn't chasing women like most of my schoolmates. I never had a girlfriend. And when I started meditating at age 19, and I started practicing Kriya Yoga, which is the main meditation technique taught by Paramahansa Yogananda, it's a gradual process of techniques. There is one very much like the Honso that I teach you, is the Om technique, and then the Kriya Yoga after a year practicing meditation. Now you can get the Kriya Yoga in 6 months, which is a blessing. I discovered that when I started practicing Kriya Yoga, instantly I was able to control my sexual energy without even trying. So I never had sexual obsessions of desires. made my mind not to look women in a sexual way, just as a friend. And it works wonderfully for me. Then I got married when I was 27. Well, you have to use your romantic energy. Let's put it that way. We have kids. And then I got divorced. And I had to be alone. And it was a little difficult because when you use the sexual energy for a long time, it's difficult to stop it just like that. But these techniques help me tremendously. So, in my opinion, the best way is transmute the sexual energy in mental energy with the, I am looking at the camera over there. Is transmute the sexual energy with these scientific methods that Paramahansa Yogananda teaches. And now I'm going to be blunt, very blunt and straightforward. Ladies and gentlemen, with the times we are living in, I sent to two of you, Diego, send me a text in WhatsApp. I don't remember your name in WhatsApp because I sent a video today to Cloud and Nancy, and I don't know where are you there. I know that you have another name, or I don't remember. I lost the train of thought. I'm going to be very blunt. In order to go through these times so difficult and weird and Diego, are you the one who used to work here in the US and then you come back to your country and you told me you felt happy working here in the US? So I remember you. Okay, I remember, on the other things that we are doing together. We need a spiritual master to teach us how to live life. And I cannot recommend other than Paramahansa Yogananda. And I am very sincere. Otherwise, life is extremely difficult to live in peace and in a healthy way. If you like the meditations that we do, if you like the change that you have experienced in life with these group healing sessions, with individual healing sessions, start practicing meditation. If you like the peace that you feel, I suggest you to investigate and apply just as for the first step of the lessons of Self-Realization Fellowship. They did the lessons last year and they are so wonderful. I am amazed. I read these lessons. There are spiritual teachings that shows you how to live life. I started reading it when I was 19. And 40 years later, I read them again, and they are totally new. I am so happy to see the changes they have done, how profound they are. So I am telling you honestly, especially in the times we are living now, life is going to be difficult. I don't know what is going to happen. I am not a clairvoyant. I don't think anybody knows what is going to happen. The only thing that we know, there are difficult times. And if we don't have a foundation in the spirit, through meditation, life is going to be very, very difficult. So my invitation is to see how we can teach our kids the control of the sexual energy. What can we do as an adults, as a parents, or to control our sexual energy? Instead of having idle thoughts about sexuality, watching things that they arouse us and then we cannot control, and we have to look for an outlet that many times is not healthy. how can we do to control the sexual energies? So in my opinion, the transmutation through the pranayamas is the only way. Practically, it's the only way. You see, even in church, in the Catholic Church, there are sexual abuse. Why? Because they don't have pranayamas to control the sexual energy. There are good priests. I know good priests when I was back in Argentina. But the ones who cannot control the sexual energy, they end up having sex with women, abusing children, and all these kind of disasters. So, this is a very serious subject. Ah, yes, I remember now, Diego. And take it in a how can I put it? In a not in a serious way, but in a committed way. To commit each one of us to have, if you're married, if you're in a relationship, to have a healthy sexual life. A sexual life in moderation and healthy. With that, yes, Diego, exercise is wonderful. And this is the reason we need to tell our kids that are in high school to do exercise. So we burn all those energies. But it's not only that, the problem is where our mind is. Where our mind is. Exercise is excellent. As I told you before, to breathe deeply 20 times like it. That transmutes instantly sexual energy, mental energy. We are going to get a little dizzy, but it's really, really effective. You know, I'm going to change the camera because I find myself looking at the other monitor. Let me see. Ah. Oof. The problem is this monitor is too tall. Anyway, I've been doing this for 2 years. Always I have the camera here, so I feel weird. So, exercise, this breathing exercise that I just showed you. Sometimes take a cold shower, put cold water in the axillas, in the sexual organs, things like that. But above all, where is our mind? If we can move our attention from whatever idle thought that we have and put it in something constructive. That's all what it takes. That's all what it takes. So this is a tragedy. I remember I was talking to a monk maybe 4 years ago, and he told me on his own, many women come from counseling, and sexual abuse is a tragedy. It's in tragic proportions. 50% of my clients, at least minimum 50% of my clients, had that challenge in life. With a partner, many women, I never asked. And at the end of the session, they told me I was sexually abused. And I can see it in their faces. I can see it in the energy blockages that they have. So we need to stop that, but we need to start with us first. And have a good control of our thoughts, of our sexual energy, and then teach our kids. Then teach our kids. And teach our friends. I remember when I was in my 20s, I was teaching my younger brother. Because if we don't teach each other, this is, hola Sergio, ¿cómo te va? Sergio Espinosa Bustamante. We can teach our friends. So, the root chakra is related to survival, is related to support, that we have financial support, support from our family and friends, support from the country, our environment. And the second chakra is related to pleasure, but it's also related to shame and guilt. There is nothing wrong on enjoy making love. The problem is when people do it in unhealthy ways. Like listening to Jan's video yesterday, we know when it's normal. We know when it's normal, and we know also when it's not normal, it's abnormal, when it's an exaggeration, when it's not healthy. If a man abuse her wife, girlfriend, lover, whatever, force sexually, this is not normal. So that man needs some help. All right. I don't know what happened with it. Oh, okay. I was looking at the time, at the date, not at the time. It's 6:32. Let's meditate for 15 minutes and let's do the session. I'm going to put to the vote. What do we do? I forgot. Remember the tongue touching the palate, the roof of the mouth. That closes a circuit between the heart and the brain and strengthens our aura. This is important that we do that. I want you to vote. What do you want to do? Carlos asked if tiene que ver con las vidas pasadas. If these sexual challenges that we have has to be with past life. Yes, Carlos. It has to be with past life. Because we come to this world with the same tendencies that we had in our last lives. I found many people lately who have spirit attachment from 3-4 lives of sexual obsession. And I asked in a very polite way, Gabriela Garate, ¿cómo te va, Gabriela? ¿Cómo andan tus cosas? Nunca hablamos. And I asked very politely, have you been feeling weird sensations lately? For how long? Maybe for the whole life? And they say yes. Sometimes for many years. And that, Carlos, comes from other lives. Yes, the great percentage of the things that we need to work on in our lives comes from other lives. So we also have to take the things that we have to go through as a lesson. A lesson that we have to learn. All right, let's meditate. We are 4 minutes over. We are going to take a deep breath and tense our whole body 3 times. We do a prayer like Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Saints of our religions, I bow to you all. We come to Thee to sit at Thy feet of omnipresence, to receive Thy blessings, Thy protection, Thy guidance, and to offer Thee all the love of our hearts. We need to start connecting with God with a prayer. The spine straight, long neck, like if we have a rope on the top of our head, stretching our neck up. The hands in the junction of the legs with the torso. I put 2 fingers under my belt so my hands don't fall down, don't slide forward. I'm going to put the sign. And we are going to breathe to the count of 6, 8, 10, wherever you can in a comfortable way, to hold it to the same count and to release it to the same count. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We release it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do it for 3, 4 more times. Our eyes are lifted gently to the spiritual eye. Our attention is also on the forehead, on the spiritual eye, somewhere here. If we lay our back on the back of the chair, the energy cannot flow to the spine. And it's very important to keep our attention to the spiritual eye and our eyes lifted there. That improves the concentration enormously. The eyes lifted to the spiritual eye take our consciousness to the super consciousness. If they are at the eye level, horizontal, looking to the front, we are in the conscious state, and if the eyes go down, we tend to fall asleep into the subconsciousness. So the eyes lifted to the spiritual eye. Now we are going to just follow our breath. Pay attention how the air comes in and out into the lungs and out of the lungs without forcing it. We just watch the breath. The eyes lifted to the spiritual eye. And now we are going to mentally say the word home when we inhale, and the word so when we exhale. That in Sanskrit means I am here. This mantra has a calming effect on our heart, our breathing, and then it will calm the mind. Now we relax, and we are going to practice one pranayama that we teach in Reiki. When we inhale, we visualize the white cloud of energy on top of our head, and when we inhale that energy, we breathe that energy into our crown chakra, goes down the head, down the neck, going to the heart chakra, solar plexus, and gets stored, accumulated in the second chakra below the navel. We don't control the breath. When the breath stops on its own, we transfer that energy from the second chakra to our whole body. And we visualize that all the cells of our body are full of light. And when the exhalation comes on its own, we exhale that energy through all the pores of our body towards the infinite. Now we repeat this simple exercise. We bring the energy to the top of our head, the crown chakra goes down our spine, accumulates on the second chakra. When the inhalation stops on its own, we transfer that energy from the second chakra to all the cells of our body. We visualize our body full of light. And when the exhalation comes naturally, we exhale that energy through all the pores of our body in all directions towards the infinite. The eyes are lifted to the spiritual eye, and we accommodate the visualization to the natural rhythm of the breathing. And now we exhale with a double exhalation. And feel the peace and let the breathing resume on its own. We are going to do the group healing session. We are going to do it in the old fashion. Nancy said, and I forgot to talk about that, the media and Hollywood, what Hollywood is portraying doesn't do any good in this problem of the sexual abuse, the human trafficking. Actually, they are collaborating on that. And the problem are not the people who do the human trafficking itself. The problem are the customers. Because if there were no customers, we didn't have this problem. They make money. People do anything for money and sex. So money is the driver of all this human trafficking. And again, this is all based on the dark energies that we have, but we are feeling them. So the only way to stop is like a Gandhi. When they were independent on the manufacturing of the salt, they were independent from the British. Because they made their own salt, so the British could not manipulate and control them anymore. So we need to think that the problems are the customers. If there are no customers, there is no product. That's why we need to do our part. So lay down on a bed with the hands, the arms on the side without touching the legs, fingers open and legs straight. Make a healing intention. For example, I don't want this back pain anymore. I don't want this emptiness in the middle of my chest anymore. I don't want this feeling of uncertainty, fear, whatever. And then a deeper intention. I want the root cause, the toxic energies, the energy blockages to be removed. And after that, you just feel your body. If I can find the music. Yes. Espero que se hayan relajado. I'm wondering if there is anybody who speaks English. Because I see everybody except for one. Everybody speaks Spanish. So, I don't think there's much to talk about this, other than we have to have the consciousness that we need to help the planet little by little. Educate ourselves, do the little changes, adjustments in our lives, educate our kids. But we have to have tools. And this is the reason I told you, I am being honest with you. If you want your kids, if you want to be happy, we need a spiritual master to guide us. Otherwise, it's so difficult. So difficult. There are many teachers out there, and no one of them has the capability to help you cross to this lifetime with the tools that I have. The meditations, the way of life, the knowledge. I've seen so many in the Life Conscious Expo, and no one of them has the capability to help you to have a complete, fulfilling life, a happy life. Somebody teach you a little bit here, a little bit there, but nobody has a complete system that will guide you through the whole life. Good night, Nancy. I am leaving also too. I have things to do. And I see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then at 4 p.m. with Jean Girard. He's very interesting to listen to. I see you tomorrow. Good night.